Good morning, crew. Okay, so this morning I want to revisit our conversation about oils, healthy fats, unhealthy fats, and specifically oils. And I had some great questions in the gym this morning regarding my previous post. And before I get into the science of all this, I want to give you guys right off the bat a practical guide, a practical way to think about this. And then you can take that and you don't even need to finish the rest of this video if you don't want to. So here's the practical guide. We want to apply paleo logic. Paleo does not end at oils, right? So paleo, the essence of it means that, we ask ourselves the question, could our ancestors have eaten this 10,000 years ago? So when we're trying to have the debate over whether or not canola oil is acceptable in our diets, one of the easiest ways to ask ourselves is, well, how is canola oil made available to us? How does it get in that jar? And what you might not realize is that it's about a 7-step process to make canola oil and different seed oils and vegetable oils. And this process includes cooking the seeds. It includes using solvents to extract the oil and bleaches to get rid of a really nasty odor and to clean up how it looks, okay? A 7-step factory processing process, including chemicals to make it look and taste acceptable to the consumers. Okay, that's definitely not something that our ancestors had available to them. Now, on the flip side, butter. Okay, some people argue paleo, we weren't really milking cows, but butter, you milk the cow, you churn the butter, right? Or even better, olive oil, cold pressed, right? You press the olives. Now, granted, it probably wouldn't have been practical in Paleolithic times to press a bunch of olives into oil so that they could use it as a dressing on whatever vegetables were available. But at least it's hypothetically possible to press olives and extract the oil. So it's a great way to think about it. Beef tallow or lard, right? Animal fat is definitely was definitely possible to get. Now, maybe it wasn't in the best form. It probably would have been like fat drippings. They certainly were able to cook meat back then. But at least it's aligned with paleo, and it's plausible that they could have had these fats. Really, this is why the best fats are the fats that we get in meat, just eating them. In fish, how natural is that? We can eat fish raw and the fat that's in them and get those omega-3 fatty acids, which are so devoid in our diet and are the very things that we need to improve our health. So that would be my suggestion, is just apply paleo logic to oils. Don't just end there. Processing, the less processed, the better. Now, with that said, you're still going to want to cook cake, and this is obviously the conversation we had in the gym this morning. You're still going to want to, pan sear or fry or whatever some foods eventually. What's the best? And so when we see these articles saying, oh, avocado oil is the best, or canola oil, or whatever it is, usually what they're referring to is, does it have a neutral flavor profile, and does it have a high smoke point? Canola oil is actually kind of middle of the road, and some of these vegetable oils are much higher up there. Actually, one that I like, if you're going to kind of go lesser of all evils, is just refined olive oil. Now, again, that has been refined, and this is important to note, extra virgin, cold pressed olive oil has it's the lowest smoke point. So there's your evidence, right? Olive oil. Isn't olive oil? No. You get the refined olive oil, all of a sudden it's at the top of the list of smoke points, and you get the cold press extra virgin, and it's at the lowest end of the list. Okay, so what is my suggestion? If you're gonna bake a cake, if you're gonna fry something in a pan, and you want to use canola oil, go for it. I like the refined olive oil. Avocado oil could be a great choice. But really the issue is that we're eating cake, right? Really the issue is that we're frying food. So just be aware of that as well. And just to kind of clear up some of the science, they'll tout a higher smoke point as healthier because obviously we want to avoid food smoking, just for the smell in our house. But then the idea is that these certain free radical chemicals are released and produced when the oils start to smoke. And those are very unhealthy. And that is true. But not all of the free radical chemicals occur at the smoke point. Some occur at a much lower point from other external variables like exposure to sunlight, UV light, but even just light in general. And even just lower levels of heat, things like canola oil, some of the fats in there, especially like the omega-6 fatty acids, can start to degrade and oxidize. And that's what we're talking about is like oxidative stress. You guys have probably heard this is an issue for our system that contributes to metabolic disease. It contributes to, and specifically with canola, go Google canola oil. It'll tell you the upside of cooking with it, and then it'll link to the studies and the downside of the health outcomes, correlated with Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, metabolic disease, okay? And so, most of us, we just want to think about, well, oxidative stress is going to lead to fat on our body, okay? It's going to lead to brain fog. It's going to lead to poor health outcomes, and that should be enough. And if we do it for long enough, it can really lead to life-threatening health outcomes, okay? And so just apply that paleo logic. Could our ancestors, at least theoretically, get this fat? Coconut oil. They definitely could get coconut fat, yes, okay? And in theory, they could have pressed the flesh of coconut. Olive oil, cold pressed. So cold pressed, there's a key word there. Cold pressed is much better. Animal fats, butter, clarified butter, by the way, it is processed. Maybe not as nasty as some of the other butters, but again, it is processed. Beef tallow. And so, yeah, keep that in mind. And I hope that helps. And, link back to a few posts that I made ago, or some of you are getting through emails. Some of you are getting these through the chat function in the app. I think the chat function is easier to kind of scroll back. And check out that link I shared with like the keto fats. That pretty much breaks down where I'm aligned on which fats are preferable. But do keep in mind that the healthier the fat, generally the lower the smoke point. So it is true. At some point, you want to bake with an oil, you want to fry with an oil. You may just have to consider a more processed oil, and that's kind of just making a deal with the devil. I would do processed olive oil personally, but if canola is your thing, it's fine. Just watch out for how much it's really in your diet, because it will make a difference. All right, y'all. That's all I got today. Peace.